Let me paint you a picture. You wake up, the alarm goes off at 6:30 in the morning. You get the kids up, you make the coffee, you pack the lunches, you get to work on time. You do your job well, you come back home, you eat dinner with your family, you tuck the kids into bed, you watch something on TV, and then you go to bed. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, if you're being truly honest, you feel absolutely nothing. Not bad, not great, just nothing. That's not a bad day. That's a comfortable trap. And a lot of good people are sitting inside of one right now and calling it a life. I'm the Nosey Coach, and if last episode was your wake-up call, this one is what happens after you open your eyes. Because here's the thing. Most people hear something that resonates, they nod along, they feel it for a minute, and then life just keeps going. The kids need something, work calls, the couch is right there, the yard work needs to be done, and that feeling, that flicker of a need to make a change gets buried until next Tuesday. So today I want to talk about why that happens, why smart, capable people who know better, stay stuck. Not because life is hard, but because life is just comfortable enough. Comfort is not the enemy. Let me be clear about that. There's nothing wrong with stability, with wanting a good job, a nice home, financial security for your family. Those are not small things. Those took work that you did. You should be proud of that. But here is where it gets dangerous. Comfort has a way of convincing you that you're done growing, when really you've just stopped hurting. And those are not the same thing. When things are hard, you move. When rent's tight, you hustle. When you're starting out, you grind. You had no choice. You had to push. But the moment life gets manageable, the moment you've got enough coming in, enough routine, enough stability to coast, that's when the trap closes. Not with a bang, quietly. The door just swings behind you, shut. And you don't even notice it at first because comfortable feels like it's earned. It feels like you paid your dues and this is the reward. And for a while, honestly, it is. But here's what nobody talks about. Comfort is not a destination. It's a sedative. It slows everything down. Your ambition, your risk tolerance, your willingness to try something and fail. You start playing defense with your own life, protecting what you have instead of building what you want. And slowly, without realizing it, your world gets smaller. Not because anything bad happened, but because nothing pushed you to make it bigger. Good enough might be the most dangerous place someone can live, because it's not bad enough to force a change, but it's not good enough to actually fill you up either. I've lived there for years, and I'd be lying if I said part of me didn't want to stay, because the trap is comfortable. That's the whole point. That's why it works. I want to ask you something uncomfortable. 10 years from now, if nothing changes, how do you feel about that? Not about your job, not about your bank account, about you, about the person you've become, and what you did with the time and the abilities you were given. Because here's the truth about the comfortable trap that nobody says out loud. The cost isn't obvious. It doesn't show up as a crisis. It shows up as quiet regret. It shows up at 52, sitting at the same desk, watching a younger version of yourself walk through the door and realizing that somewhere in the last decade, you traded your potential for your routine. It shows up in the conversations you don't have with your kids, because how do you tell your son to go after his dreams when you're not going after yours? How do you look your daughter in the eye and say, be brave, when the last brave thing you did was decades ago? Kids don't listen to what you say. They watch what you do. Every single day, they are taking notes on who their father or mother is, not about what they talk about becoming, but who they actually are. That hit me hard when I really sat with it, because I realized the version of me that was coasting wasn't just failing me, I was failing them. And that was the thing I couldn't shake anymore. The comfortable trap doesn't cost you your potential. It costs the people around you a version of who they deserve to see. So what do you do with this? I am not telling you to blow up your life. I am not telling you to quit your job or move across the country or do something so dramatic to feel alive again. That's not what this is about. What I'm telling you is this: name it. Just start by being honest with yourself about what comfortable has cost you. Not with guilt. Guilt doesn't build anything. With clarity. Because you can't get out of the trap you refuse to admit you're in. So here's one thing for this week. One question. Write it down, put it on your phone, think about it as you drive home tonight. What is the one thing you keep putting off that you know if you had started it would make you feel more like yourself again? I'm not saying do a plan. I'm not putting a deadline on anything. Just give yourself an honest answer. Because that answer, that's the door. Next episode, we're going to talk about your kids and what you are actually teaching them right now, whether you mean to or not. It's going to be called, What Are You Modeling for Them? And I promise you, it will change the way you walk through your own front door. If this one hits home, send it to somebody who needs to hear it. Not in a big, grand gesture, just flip it to them. I'm the Nosey Coach. Now go think about that question. I'll see you next time.